Are you looking for an easy and simple way to add typed journaling to your scrapbook pages? Well, stick around because I've got a simple hack coming up next on the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. I'm Victoria, and today we're going to talk about an easy way that you can add typed journaling to your scrapbook pages without actually typing on your scrapbook layout. We're going to use Microsoft Word to do it because guess what? Not all of us know how to use Photoshop. So I'm going to show you an easy way that you can do this. And I'm going to talk about why I use Vellum rather to add typed journaling to my scrapbook pages, because that is a question that I get a lot anytime I feature that in a process video. Also, I don't want to forget that this video was selected by the Victoria Marie Patreon community. That's an exclusive community that I host. Folks support me. I absolutely love it. And in return, they get awesome exclusive content. So if that's something you want to learn more about, there's a link posted down below. All right, enough talking. Let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. If you've been scrapbooking for a while, you have probably noticed a lot of folks who have typed or do type on their scrapbook pages, whether they run their background straight through their printers or they create a template on Photoshop. But there is an easy way to be able to add seamless journaling, typed journaling on a scrapbook page, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. This is a technique that I do often, and out of all the techniques that I teach or that I feature here on the channel, one of the questions that always comes up is, Victoria, how do you add typed journaling using Vellum to your scrapbook pages, whether it's just a 12 by 12 or even a pocket card? So I'm going to show you that today. Now, not only do I like to add Vellum text boxes to my pages, I also like to add journaling strips. And sometimes I'll print my journaling strips using Vellum, sometimes white cardstock or other cardstock as well. So that's another option of how you can get typed journaling on your layout without using any fancy technologies. For this technique, you will need to access Microsoft Word or a similar program, and you're also going to need a printer. And I get asked all the time, what kind of printer do you use? And I use a Canon all-in-one Crafters printer, and I'll be sure to post the link down in the description below. And you will need the substrate that you want to print on. And so for this purpose, I like to use Vellum, but of course you can use any color cardstock that coordinates with your scrapbook layout to give you a seamless look on your project. This particular product that you see here is called Classic Layering Vellum, and this is from Hero Arts. Now, before you get started with typing your journaling, you do want to take a minute and kind of measure out where you want your journaling to appear on your layout. This will give you kind of a rough estimate of how big to make your text box or how long to make your journaling strips. Now, for this particular layout, everything is centered going in the vertical fashion, and I only had a small amount of space there to add my journaling. So I'm just doing a rough measurement so I'll know how big to make my text box in Microsoft Word. Now, the same goes for 3x4 or 4x6 pocket cards if you want to add that to your projects, whether you're doing Project Life or you're going to add it to a layout like you see here. So notice on this card, there is a graphic on the left-hand side, but there's some empty space on the right. I'm going to measure that out so I know how large to make the text box in Microsoft Word so the journaling will fit on that pocket card. Once you've decided how much space you need, it's now time to type your journaling. To begin, you want to open up a Microsoft Word document. You're going to come over here to the left-hand side and click Insert. Once you selected Insert, you're going to have a toolbar open. And if you come over here to the right-hand side, you're going to find the tool option that says Toolbox. Click on that, and you'll have an option to either insert a toolbox with horizontal text or one with vertical. We're going to select the first one so we can have horizontal text. If you bring your mouse over to your document, notice that it turns into a plus sign. Well, all you have to do is just click on your document and drag to create a text box. Very simple. Once your text box is created, then you can go ahead and start typing out your journaling. Once your journaling is typed, of course, you can then click on the text box and adjust it to whatever size that you need. Now, if you are creating text to say go on a pocket card, then you want to make sure that you measure on your pocket card how much space you have for the journaling. Otherwise, you can just adjust this however you need based on the design of your layout. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and print your journaling, but you're probably wondering, well, Victoria, do I leave this black line around my text box? Well, you certainly can, and you can use that as a guide to cut out your text box when you're ready to put it on your scrapbook page. Or you can take it off if it's not needed. And that comes in handy if, say, you want to really trim down on your journaling or you want to leave a little bit of space for embellishing. Whatever the case may be, there is a way for you to take this black fade line off of your text box. So what you want to do is click on the text box, double click, and it'll open up your format shape tools. what you want to do is select Shape Options and come over here under the option that says Line. And if you don't see this, then make sure you click on the arrow to expand those options and then click No Line. Come back over here to your document, click on it, and you'll notice that the line is gone. And this is a very, very helpful tool. If, say, you do want to print directly on your background, you can create a text box and move it around to where you need it on your layout. So that way it will print exactly in the position that you want without that line, and you don't have to worry about it. Typically, when I'm creating text boxes of journaling to go on my layouts, I'm going to take that black line off, and then I just go ahead and trim around the text as needed. Also at this point, if you click back on the text, it'll open up your text box again. You can come over here to Home and change the font style. I usually like using American Typewriter. And you can also change the font size. And I usually print my journaling anywhere between 12 or 10 and 12 for my font size. But for this, I'm going to leave it 12. You can also change the alignment of your font if you come over here to your alignment tools here in your toolbox, which of course, if you've used Microsoft Word, you're probably familiar with. So right now I have it left align, but you can certainly center, right align, or justify the text if you like. Once you've made all the adjustments you want to your text, it's time to print it out. Now, here's a tip. If you're working on multiple projects, I recommend that you put multiple journal entries on one page. That way, you're only printing one document. That does take a little bit of pre-planning, but save yourself some time on the back end by doing all your journaling and printing and typing on the front end. Now, in addition to journaling boxes, you may be interested to create journaling strips, and that's really simple. So all you do is type your journaling, and then what you want to do is you want to add some space in between your sentences. That way, you have enough room for when you print out this document, you'll have enough room to cut out your journaling strips. You can certainly adjust the font, the size, the alignment, as well as the size of the sentences or the length of the sentences, because for some of our projects, you may only have so much space to put your journaling strips, so you just want to adjust those accordingly. Now, once you have your journaling typed, whether it's journaling strips or using a text box, you are ready to print. So at this point, what you want to do is make sure that your printer is loaded with the substrate you want to use. In this case, for this demonstration, I'm going to use Vellum, mainly because I've gotten so many questions about it. But you can definitely use cardstock, you can use copy paper, but for this demonstration, I'm going to use Vellum. So let's go ahead and head to the printer. Now you want to go ahead and load up your printer, whatever substrate you're using. So in this case, I'm going to be using some Hero Arts Classic Layering Vellum, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can print on this vellum. You do want to allow the vellum, if you're printing on any vellum, give it a minute or so to dry because vellum is not porous. So once it comes off the printer, if you touch it, it will smudge. So you want to give it some time to dry. But once it's printed, you're ready to trim it up and put it on a layout. So here I have just my journaling typed on regular copy paper. This, of course, can be cardstock if you want to use cardstock. And then, of course, I have my layering vellum, and I just let that dry for about a minute or so. And at this point, you can go ahead and just cut up your journaling strips. Of course, you can do vellum journaling strips if you want to, or your journaling block, and then you can position that on your project. So again, here's an example of where I created my text box, printed it out on vellum. I certainly could have used white cardstock, and that would have given me a seamless look to almost make it look like I've printed on my layout, but using vellum does the same thing. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, what do I do with the rest of the vellum once I've trimmed it up? Well, any large piece I just like to reuse again or use to print more journaling. So I'll go ahead, print out my journaling, and I'll print that on white copy paper, and then I'll cover it with the vellum if I choose to use vellum for my project, adhere it with washi tape, and then run it through my printer. This is a really great way to use up any of those extra pieces of vellum, and I also use these extra pieces for other projects as well. Another question that I get whenever I demonstrate or show people that I've used vellum for my journaling on a scrapbook page is, how do you actually adhere it without the adhesive showing through? One of my favorite products is a Tombow Mono permanent adhesive. This is a roller adhesive, and I just apply a small amount to the back of my vellum, and as you can see, you cannot see it through the vellum. This is why I like using the Hero Arts Classic Vellum, because it's a thick vellum, and you can't really see the adhesive underneath, depending on the type of adhesive that you're using. You can also use your Xyron sticker maker if you have it, and this provides a nice even coating of adhesive to the back of any element, and you can apply it as well. You can use double-sided tape. There's lots of different widths of of double-sided tape, as well as a tiny attacher. You can just staple your journaling on, and then you can also stitch your journaling. There is special adhesive specifically for Vellum, but if you don't have adhesive like that, these are just a few options that you can use when you are working with Vellum. Well, that is it, my friends, an easy hack to create seamless journaling on a scrapbook project. If you have any questions, make sure you post it down in the comment section below. And also, if you have a tip or technique for creating seamless journaling on your scrapbook pages, make sure you share it down below in the comment section. We are a community of learners, and I love when we can share our different tips and techniques for making scrapbooking easy. Thanks again to the Victoria Marie Patreon community for selecting this video. And as always, if you're new around these parts, don't forget to subscribe. And when you do, click the bell. That way you'll be notified each and every time I post new content like this. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.